Welcome back to WAVE Listens Live, and as we are moving our way through September, it is such an important month, especially here locally. September is Recovery Month. That is a time to celebrate all those who are in recovery from alcohol or drug addiction. So here to talk to us about all the important work that Landmark Recovery does is Michelle Dubey, the VP of Clinical Quality. Michelle, thanks so much for being with us here today and sharing some of this important message, the work that you guys do each and every day, not just this month.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's start talking a bit about Landmark Recovery, things that people need to know or maybe they don't know if this is their first time hearing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Landmark Recovery, we are a substance use treatment facility and local to the Louisville community. It's actually where we started about 7 years ago. So we've been serving that market and that location. We have 2 locations in Kentucky, and we have a full range of services. So we, have all the way for detox out to outpatient services, and then our alumni program that patients can stay with us and individuals can stay with us for as long as they'd like.
I love going through the notes that are provided when we get to meet places like where you work and people like you. And I saw already in the past 7 years, you guys have helped to save 20,000 lives, but the goal is much greater. You're working on 1 million. Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah, we are. And when we talk about, having an impact and saving 1 million lives in 100 years, yes, it's the individual that is using substances, but we know that it impacts so much beyond just that person. So when we're talking about impacting 1 million lives, saving 1 million lives in 100 years, we're talking about family members, friends, children. The impact is so big.
And Landmark is so unique with the services that you provide. I know that you have not only that full range of treatment options that you were discussing, but there's also an alumni program. I haven't heard much about that before, so fill us in.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the alumni program. So when anyone graduates out of our services, whether they've been in our inpatient stay or they've been in our outpatient or sometimes both, we want to set them up to have support for the rest of their lives. Oftentimes when we're connected to the place where we learned all the tools and got that initial recovery, it helps us have that support to keep us going, as well as build that community. So we have alumni coordinators who help reach out at regular intervals to support our graduates. So they'll do phone calls and they will put on events over the month. Some are big events, doing fun things in sobriety, going bowling, pottery painting, learning how to have fun in other sorts of environments, as well as smaller support groups and, having just a really strong connection.
Well, Michelle, we always talk about stigma when we talk about recovery and being one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why people don't seek out the resources like what you're able to provide and what people need. Can you talk about specific to our region and here in Kentucky, over the last 7 years since you guys have been working on this, how are we doing now as opposed to where we started? And I know there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I think there's a huge, stigma, unfortunately, is still a huge part of the barrier why people don't reach out and don't get help. I think there's a couple different types of stigma that we look at of, one of the biggest crises that we're having in our country is opioid use, but we also, I think individuals who are using alcohol struggle with letting someone know, hey, I'm having a hard time. I can't drink normally like my friends do or my peers do or my family does. So it is still pretty big problem, pretty big barrier.
Well, you brought up family there too, family, friends. I think they can play an important role in this because it doesn't always have to be the person who is struggling with addiction that's the one to make the call to a place like Landmark, right?
Oh, absolutely. It can be family reaching out. We often have family members making that first contact because they've noticed something different, or maybe they're realizing that their person's really struggling to make that decision for themselves. And it's, even just to get information to start that process and start having those conversations.
If somebody is watching our program today and is out there who has been struggling maybe for a long time, any words of advice or anything that you would want those people to know now that you have this platform and we're able to share such important information and resources?
Yeah, I always say the first is you're not alone. This is something that's impacting families, individuals all over our country, and you're not alone, and you don't have to go through this alone. So, we are available to you 24 hours a day as a resource to help support, make those decisions on next steps, and really just gather information.
And that's such an important thing for people to realize, that you're not alone. Okay, if someone is struggling and they're hearing this message, what would you like them to go and do, kind of the next steps, I guess, if you will?
Yeah, we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can contact us. Best way to get a hold of us is our website, www.landmarkrecovery.com. This is a great way to start. We have information on our website to help the families get education, as well as being able to reach out to someone and talk about what's going on.
Obviously, there's work that you guys do to help people. If our viewers are watching and maybe they don't know someone who's struggling right now, is there anything, but they still want to be involved in the cause, anything that you would ask of the public who's listening out there today?
So I don't know how much time we have left. I always say, educate yourself on overdose prevention. Having something like Narcan, understanding how to use Narcan, having it available, carrying it with you. That's a way we can save a life. Overdose is 100% reversible. So becoming educated and understanding what resources are available to save lives in your community.
Well, Michelle, I thank you so much for joining us here on WAVE Listens Live, explaining the work that you do. And of course, thank you so much for the work that you put in each and every day to help those in our community.
Great, thank you.
To echo what Michelle said, if you are out there and you need the resources of Landmark, 2 ways to get in touch. You can call 866-LANDMARK, or again, visit that website, landmarkrecovery.com. You can see 20,000 lives saved so far since they've been in operation, and the goal over the next several years is to get to that 1 million mark. Stay with us here on WAVE Listens Live. We have got another great segment coming your way. We are talking beer, we are talking donuts, we are talking Atrium Brewing, celebrating 3 years with a collaboration with another local business. You don't want to miss it. It's coming up next.